So how did that make you feel when you were passed over?
Well, I'll tell you what I explained to the person who passed over me for the promotion. So my previous boss at that point, I came in and talked to him one day and I said, you have to understand, this is a little bit like coming to work with your ex-boyfriend and his new girlfriend. It's
Mm.
awkward and it's weird. And I'm really angry and have a lot of feelings about this. And it's going to take me a minute to get back to feeling okay in this environment.
Welcome to another episode of Reframe for Resilience. Our guest today is Miss Jessica Katz. She's the CEO of Polylabor and also the founder of Liberated Elephant. These two companies cover issues of culture and leadership, work environment, as well as productivity. So she covers the gamut of what is needed to create something that she positions as consent leadership. And I'm actually looking forward to learn a little bit more about that.
Great.
When we met, you mentioned two or three episodes in your life that were really quite critical and actually caused you to reframe. Could you share some of that with us?
Yeah, absolutely. So, one of the sort of the first one in my life, I moved to Tennessee, which is where I am now, to be a singer, which everybody moves to Tennessee to be a singer back in those days, or to play music. And I moved as a single parent, and I didn't really consider the impact, that single parenting would have on my capability to pursue, a singing career. And I made the choice to prioritize my life differently and prioritized the a consistent day in day out parenting of my oldest child over the pursuit of a singing career, and went for a degree in information technology and ended up pursuing project management, which I still quite love, which is why one of my organizations is focused on productivity. um, I loved it more than the coding that I learned in school, and found a passion for what I was doing, while at the same time being able to be stable and consistent for my child.
Oh, fantastic. And how long did you do that?
Project management.
Yes.
Yeah, one would say I'm still doing it.
Uh-huh.
But formal project management, I've been officially a certified project manager now for over 20 years. I think I'm broaching in on 25 years of project management now. And I think that that hasn't left me, even though I don't have the job title of a project manager anymore and I'm not formally managing projects. I am still bringing those skills forward into my life, today, because I approached it in a very pragmatic,
Mhm.
human first way, and it meant it was applicable to many things.
So what led you then to leave the company where you were for 20 years or so and to set up your own company?
Yeah, well, I should just clarify. I've been a project manager for a long time. The company that I eventually left, that we discussed before, I was with them for, I want to say 5 years, but it was a role that was project management in orientation. But I've been doing project management a long time. So I'd been with them for a while, and they passed me over for a promotion. I was up for a director of project management role, and they made a choice to hire one of my peers into that role instead of myself, which, as I'm sure you can imagine, had a lot of impact, on my day-to-day satisfaction at that company. And the person who got promoted above me, she and I had some really great conversations about, okay, this was awkward. How do we work together?
Hmm.
And the person who looked me over, I think our relationship ever recovered from it. Um, what I discovered as I was soul searching, why did I get passed over for a promotion? What led to this is that my values and the company's values were out of alignment. They wanted a more project manager in that role. They wanted a person who executes projects, not a person who enables humans. And And I wanted to be in a place where I could enable humans to do good work instead of constantly beating the drum of on time, on budget, on scope, on time, on budget, on scope. And
Yeah,
that's a really different way of thinking.
yeah, hitting the timelines and being on budget.
Which I was
Mhm.
often hitting timelines and being on budget, but I think you get those by
Yeah.
enabling people, which is a different approach to leadership than they wanted in their leaders.
So how did that make you feel when you were passed over?
Well, I'll tell you what I explained to the person who passed over me for the promotion. So my previous boss at that point, I came in and talked to him one day and I said, you have to understand, this is a little bit like coming to work with your ex-boyfriend and his new girlfriend. It's
Mm.
awkward and it's weird. And I'm really angry and have a lot of feelings about this. And it's going to take me a minute to get back to feeling okay in this environment. And ultimately, I never got back to feeling okay in that environment. And it was time for me to make a change. I wanted to make places better and more fulfilling for the people working in them.
So this event, in a real sense, gave you an opportunity to really look at your own values and
Yes.
your own desires. I like to talk about the desired outcome, you know. So you have this episode, this disappointment, you know. So what's the outcome that you wanted? And often when you look at that, you have an opportunity to take a different perspective and to do something differently. So tell us about what you do now and this concept of consent leadership,
Yeah. Consent-based leadership is,
consent-based leadership.
yeah, is the model that I coach and educate and lead leadership groups towards. And the idea is that I don't work for you as an indentured servant. I don't work for you at your whim. I'm a partner as an employee to you. You're a partner as an employee to the companies that you work for. And as leaders, their job is to make sure the partnership is good for both sides. And often that means, you know, everybody's gotten that email at like 4 o'clock on a Friday. Can you get this done? And the implication is, can you get it done now? And of course, it's 4 o'clock on a Friday. You don't want to get that done. It's the end of your day. You're wrapping up for the weekend. Nobody wants to do that work at 4 o'clock on a Friday. But the ability to say to your boss, not right now, it's 4 o'clock. I'm about to leave. I can get to this Monday. And to be able to feel empowered to have that very adult, very reasonable conversation about your boundaries with your bosses is critical. But you can't make that culture happen from an individual contributor perspective. You have to set the tone for that at the leadership side of things. So that means a leader has to be able to send an email and say, I'd like this to get done today. If you don't have time, let me know, and I'll either assign it to somebody else or I will negotiate when it can get done, right? Making sure that's where it starts first, making sure your employees know that they can say no, tell you things that you might not like to hear, have perspectives different than yours, and challenge your perspective as a leader is critical to getting to a place where people feel like they are consenting to the work they've been asked to do, not just being told what to do.
So consent-based leadership is consent between the leaders and I would say the employees, the associates.
Correct.
That's where the consent
Yeah.
is. Uh-huh. Does that also filter down to consent amongst teams and how teams operate?
Yeah, we're
Because you talk about productivity, and this is why I was wondering if it also filtered into that.
It absolutely does. Because we are a community-oriented species, and community-oriented species tend to emulate the people that are seen as powerful and in leadership. So if you see your leaders leaning towards content and conversation and negotiation, then you will also do that behavior on your teams. We can't help ourselves, right? We like to mimic the people we see as important and powerful in our culture. You can see it in the way that people mimic who their favorite basketball stars' shoes are, right? And they go and get those shoes and they watch the Kardashians and they go and get those clothes. And, there's that tendency towards mimicking those that we perceive as being powerful and important in our society. So we absolutely do. We mimic whatever behavior is presented to us. So if you've got a leader who's command and control, directive, I'm going to tell you what to do, do what I say, everybody in their organization will function that way.
Mhm.
They'll either know that they have no power to tell other people what to do, or they'll start swinging their power around and telling other people what to do. Where if you have a leader who is making space for voices and perspectives and frankly diversity inside their spaces, you'll emulate that down in the groups.
So, what are
And
two or three behaviors you try uh, to 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 teach or to encourage?
ask questions, don't make demands. That would be one. And you want to make sure those questions start with how or what and are short and non-leading. There's whole books about how to ask powerful questions that are from a place of curiosity. That's the first one. The second one is assume you're wrong. If you're a leader, assume you're wrong and that you don't have all the information and go find out what you need to know. And the third one is really the hard one is to sort of grasp that if you build this culture, it actually turns into really good KPIs for your company. But it is hard to feel that. It's far away. So it's hard to know that the KPIs are going to turn around. They won't turn around right away. It takes a little bit of time. So it's patience and trust in the data that exists out there because there's a lot of data around how valuable this kind of work is.
Mhm. So, give me those three again.
Ask questions from a place of
Ask questions.
curiosity.
The what or how.
Yep. Assume you're wrong
Mhm.
and be patient.
And be patient.
Mhm.
Very, very good. I think it was in 2020, I first suggested, and I actually have that in my book, Until You Walk in My Shoes, that DI will evolve into what I call EIIE, namely equity, inclusion, and individual engagement.
Uh-huh.
Because to get productivity, if the employees, if the individuals are not motivated, if they're not engaged, you're not going to get productivity in an organization. And so the leaders ought to look at their environment with respect to equity and inclusion, with the metric being, are the employees, are the individuals being motivated and engaged? And
Yeah.
that will give you an idea whether indeed you're doing those things. And these are some simple practical things that you have here
Yeah.
to ask the question and not to say, I am the boss, therefore I'm right.
Yep.
Yes, assume you're wrong and be patient for the outcome.
Yeah. The most powerful leaders I've ever seen trust that they've done a good job of hiring.
Mhm.
Like they've hired well, and these people know what they're talking about. So let's lean into trusting them. And that's pretty amazing when that happens.
Mhm. Ms. Katz, thank you for sharing with us consent-based leadership.
Yep.
Uh,
Thank you.
the concept was new for me, when we met, and I very much love it. I think it is the basis of productivity, of getting people involved, but more important is making sure that everyone understands where North is and where we're going, and they buy into it. And having that conversation and having them also contribute to how to get to North, where we want to go. And even the earlier conversation, should we be going north or should we be going northeast?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
that an environment that allows that is an environment uh, where people will be motivated, engaged, and build resilience because they are encouraged to have different perspectives and to reframe.